Hey everybody, Nathan Ronen, CFA here with another update. This is applicable to all people in the CFA program, whether you're a level 1, level 2, or level 3 candidate. And it's regarding the question I get all the time when people get their results from the CFA exam and they passed or they failed, and they're looking at the the two-page output that CFA Institute provides them with their score and what the different topics were and how they did in those different topics, and they want to know how to interpret it. If you're one of those candidates, you might want to listen to this and continue listening to the end, because I tend to try to give you some examples. And also, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on my website at chalkandboard.org. That's CHALK and AND board, BOARD. That's chalkandboard.org. And you can send me a message on our Contact Us form, or you can reach out to me. My phone number is there. You can WhatsApp me, send me a message on WhatsApp. You can email me. My email address is there. I'm pretty transparent and pretty open to candidates at all levels. So the question is, again, how do I, interpret my scores? If you'd like to continue receiving these updates as I post them on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, just press the subscribe button now and hit the notifications bell, and you'll continue to receive these, because I talk about strategies, tips, advice for the level 1, level 2, level 3 exam, what to do in terms of the pathways. Then I also sometimes give career advice for those people that are seeking it, and all other types of questions that come across my desk, and share them with you. Okay, so you took the level 1 or level 2 exam for May 2025, or you're going to be taking the level 3 exam in August of 2025, and you want to know, you're getting your results, or you have your results, how to interpret them. I understand that. First of all, I was a candidate at one point just like you. I went through the CFA program from 1993 to 1996. If you do the math, the exam was only given twice a year, in June and December. It wasn't a 3-4 times a year kind of thing. And I failed the level 2 exam the first time, so I had to retake it in 1995. But level 1 and level 3, I passed on my first try. Okay, now that we got that out of the way and you understand that I've actually gone through what you're going through, in those days, the CFA Institute actually released the exams. They released the level 1 exam, they released the level 2 exam, they released the level 3 exam. People could see the questions, people could see the answers, they could see the answer key. And many times it would create a lot of, frustration among candidates. CFA Institute would probably get a lot of emails or messages or letters about concerns about questions and the answers. So in a sort of like three-pronged approach, in 1997, they stopped releasing the level 1 exam to the public. In about 2004, 2005, they stopped releasing the level 2 exams. And around 2017, they stopped releasing the constructed response questions to the level 3 exam. And now there is no release of any of the actual exams. Okay, and it's a computer-based exam, as you know, and not a paper-based exam. Okay, so to put everything into perspective, the CFA Institute really doesn't have a lot of time, energy, and resources to sit and, discuss answers and, argue with candidates. So that is probably not the only reason, but among the reasons that they are no longer putting the exam out to the public, for discussion, because it just, creates a lot of problems. If the CFA Institute does find a problem with the exam, they inform candidates, they have retabulated. People have before, and I've seen this, gotten letters originally that they failed, and then they were told that they passed, apologies were made, all of that. I mean, again, it's humans running an exam, and people are fallible. Okay, so where am I going with all of this? When you get the results that you are looking for, okay, it's going to tell you pass or fail. As a person who's very well experienced, with over 30 years of experience with the CFA exam, teaching for it, I'm going to be very direct with you. Going beyond looking at your result, pass or fail, is kind of a, circular, like a circle jerk, okay? You're not doing really any service to yourself, regardless of what other people may tell you. I mean, you can believe whatever you want. Sitting there and saying, hey, I failed in fixed income, or I did very poorly in fixed income, so you know what? I got to bash fixed income, put more emphasis in fixed income, studied harder. I mean, even the CFA Institute would probably tell you, well, it's not a bad idea because that seems logical, okay? It isn't really the correct response, okay? Why? Because you don't have all of the information that you need to make that kind of assessment. And CFA Institute is not going to show you your exam. They're not going to show you your actual result, meaning, which questions you got right and which questions you got wrong and why. And they're not going to give you a detailed answer key to the exam or the questions. So you don't even know what you got right. You don't even know what you got wrong. So why are you putting yourself through this mental calisthenics of, trying to figure out how you could do better the next time on the exam based on your results from this time? There's really no connection. Why is that? Well, okay, let's think about this logically. Let me give you an example. Let's say the fixed income on your exam is worth 40 points. Okay, let's say fixed income is 40 points. And you actually scored 35 points out of 40. Now, you would never know that, but let's assume you got 35 out of 40 points. I think you and I can agree that 35 out of 40 points is a reasonably good score, and you'd probably be happy about it. But what if I told you that the average score of all the candidates that took the exam with you on that same day around the world was 38 points out of 40 or 37 points out of 40? Then your result doesn't look that amazing, does it? Likewise, in reverse, let's say there's 40 points to the fixed income section on your exam. You got 26 points out of 40. You and I could probably agree that 26 out of 40 is not a fabulous performance, just with absolute numbers. But what if I told you that the average was a 21 or a 22 out of 40? Then you did amazing, or you did very well. You see, without knowing what the actual scores were, not knowing what your score was, what other people's scores were, how many points, all of that kind of stuff, it's very hard for you to say, hey, I did poorly in fixed income, or I did very well in fixed income. In fact, I can almost wholeheartedly promise you that if you take that fixed income, for example, that you did poorly on, and you decide to just now grind at fixed income, you're going to go into the weeds, you're going to try to learn every little detail, and maybe on the next exam, your score in fixed income will go up, but something that you didn't put as much effort in will go down compared to the previous time you took it. So it'll be almost like a balancing act. And a lot of candidates have actually done this and found my scores don't change, or I did worse. They don't actually pass. You got to study everything evenly. You can't say, oh, okay, I did poorly on the exam in May in fixed income, so now I'm going to do well in August. In fact, and the CFA Institute is telling you to in a different way, they're saying to you, hey, if this exam that you just took was administered at another point in time, this is how your range of scores could be. Why? Because the pool of candidates are going to be different. And, the board of directors, when they decide on the minimum passing score, might end up being a different minimum passing score. So, in other words, to clarify this and make this easy to understand, is if you failed the exam in one period and in one cycle, and then they gave you that same exact exam, okay, but you'd never seen the questions, but the same exact exam in the next exam cycle, but the pool of candidates is different, your score might be the same, higher, or lower. In other words, you could have failed worse or you could have passed. So there's no way for you to know without having all of the entire information available to you to know how you really did. All you can say is that based on that exam cycle, you didn't pass the exam, or you passed the exam. And in other words, you performed better than those people who took the exam, or you performed worse than those people that took the exam. But that does not mean that it's going to be the exact same result next time around if they gave you the same exam, because the candidate pool will be different and the scores will be different, and therefore your score will be different. So that's the most important thing is, hey, Nathan, so what should I get out of this? Take your result, accept it, fail or pass, and move on, okay? And that's about it. I realize you want to get more insight. They're not giving it to you, okay? Now, this is a kind of a very important life lesson to remember, because this happens in a lot of things that you do. Now, I don't want to be like funny about this, but it's just like, let's say, dating. Now, I haven't been on the dating scene for many, many years, okay? But it's no different. If you go out on a date, you might think that that date went very well, okay? Just like you thought your exam went very well. And then you get a result that you didn't expect. they don't return your phone call, or they're not interested in going out with you again. And you're trying to figure out why. I mean, you dressed correctly, you acted correctly, you were very thoughtful, you opened it, whatever you did all the right things according to what you thought. It doesn't matter. They just didn't connect with you, or they didn't feel that vibe, or they just don't want to move it along any further. There's not much you can do about it, okay? And you're not going to, and if you try to pump, and get the real reason why they don't want to go out on that second or third, date with you, guess what? You're not ever going to get the real answer. So why bother? Just try again, go out with somebody else, and maybe you'll click. Same thing with the CFA exam. Try not to figure out and waste time reading tea leaves and figure out, oh, if I would have scored one more question, or how many questions was I away from passing? It doesn't matter. You didn't pass. The end. Now, I know this sounds kind of like cold and callous, and I'm not trying to be that way. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save you a lot of agony of trying to wreck your brains and create mental illness here of a process that you have no control over. And that's really important. And seeing people showing you the 90th percentile or the day pass isn't helping you either. Just take your results, pass or fail, accept it. If you passed, move on to the next level. If you passed level 3, congratulations, get your charter. But if you failed, think about it and say, hey, maybe my strategy is off. Maybe my focus is off. Maybe the way I went about it is wrong. Maybe I didn't put in the right time in the different areas. And that's where I actually come in, and I'm happy to help you with that. And I have a very successful pass rate at all 3 levels, and I'm happy to help you put it through as well. Been doing this for 30 years. Why not increase your chances of passing so that you're not playing these mental exercises next time? So that is what I would say to you about your scores. Try not to read into them. Don't look at them like you're reading tea leaves. Stop worrying about everything. Same thing even when you apply to colleges or when you apply for a job. They're never going to exactly tell you why they didn't take you for the job, or if they do, it'll never be the real reason. And same thing with colleges. You get the rejection letter, you accept it. You don't sit there and say, oh, but I had this and I had this course and I got all A's and it doesn't matter. They rejected, move on. You're not going to die. With the CFA exam, it's very important. You can still take the exam again. You can take it 6 times, okay, at each level. You don't need to. I'll help you take care of it on the first try as much as I can. But again, overanalyzing your results is a futile effort, and it doesn't help do anything except focus you in the wrong direction and give you solutions that really don't help at all. Okay, so I hope this little presentation was helpful to you. If you have any questions, reach out to me at chalkandboard.org. I'm happy to talk with you about this further. And again, I wish you all the luck on any exam that you take. And if you don't pass, take a couple days off, get back on the horse, let me help you out. And if you did pass, move on to the next level, and let's get that done together. Have a good day and good luck.